Uh, well, I think that, first of all, they stayed as scientists and they attempted to understand reality, not reality, but science, matter. I'm not that. That's not what I am. I take an interpretation of what modern science says, I interpret it and I apply it to a vision of reality, and also try to show how that atomic knowledge can be used in daily life.
But you
So-
both are looking for the
No, they were
immutable-
scientists. I'm not a scientist. I'm a basically a person interpreting science, interpreting what other people have found, and attempting to show humanity how they can use that information to better their lives. Because because the old way of looking at reality is wrong and terrible. It's caused war. The old way of defining reality with your human senses is a horrible, horrible, horrible way of looking at reality. Reality is much wider and deeper than what the human senses can perceive. And humanity has to leave that vision of reality being determined only by the human senses rapidly, because we now have atomic bombs. It's no longer sword and pistol. We have atomic bombs. And if they stay in the same vision of reality that they've had for 5 million years since they've come down from the trees, it's a 5 million year old vision that has to be changed. And take on Magava consciousness, which means a consciousness where you are now an element, and you relate to all the elements in the entire universe, not our solar system, to the entire universe. Your body is made up of everything in the universe. You came from the universe. All these atoms are moving around. We're floating. The Earth is only 4.5 billion years old. 5 billion years, George, your skin and bones was flying up there. You're up there in the gas, and you were pieces of dust floating around up there. You know?
Right.
And here you are, interviewing Copernicus. So, but the fact is that those atoms that were moving up there 5 billion years ago, they're still moving. There's nothing. And what you're doing? You're interpreting, or people who have a vision of reality only by their basic human senses are not seeing these things going on. They don't have this atomic vision of themselves.
But you've become a little bit more lenient to the past. I mean, you said about just now the horror of judging reality by your senses, which we've been doing for thousands or millions of years, you say.
5 million years.
But now, since last time, I think, you've admitted that there was very little choice. I mean, we didn't have the scientific knowledge. It's been a tough uphill road to get to where we are. So why not think of truth instead of as an absolute truth now and forever, as perhaps an absolute truth that we can get to by the end, but not right now? That it will always be changing. I think you've reserved some of some room for skepticism even in your own theory.
I've grown working on this book. I'm glad that you see the difference in me in the last year. I'm not the same. I'm a wider person.
More mature, maybe.
Dealing with this material day after day, analyzing it. This is not like one of my albums where I stand when I'm in front of a microphone and musicians are kicking music out, and stuff is just rolling off the top of your head with no real thought. This is emotional stuff flowing off the top of your head. No, there's no thought going on. I mean, there's thought, but it's just flipping out. This is analyzed. Anything in this book, I have sweated and dealt with and redealt with and redealt with it again. So I'm more. A year ago, I was still hurting from what I considered the powers of the past, what they did to me, and I was still adolescent in the sense of being resentful against the religious and political establishment of the past, what they did in their selfish ways, using truth to have social power. But I don't really have that resentment anymore. I don't really want to get too involved in putting them down. I want to be a more positive person and expressing what I have to say. You know, it's almost like there's no sense in waste time putting somebody down. But it is important to bring out the evils of the political and religious establishment, because they have a lot of evil. When you take truth and instead of caring about truth, you use it for your own selfish power, that's evil. I don't like the word evil, but that's not good. All right, that is not good, and that's been going on from day one. It's still going on.
So you've been very down on the politicians and the priests.
Yep.
Can you see anything good about what they've done? I think
yes,
you
because
well,
you know, we've grown through them. I mean, we've grown through. What we are has come through everything that they've done, and the best thinkers have come out of these systems. You can't expect human beings to have perfection. You know, there'd be no Freud or Copernicus or Einstein without the systems that these bureaucrats have maintained and established and passed on. You know, so the good part is, but society in general has a good, but it has a lot of bad. But you have to be aware of the bad in society.
You talk about them being limited or mistaken or just plain wrong because they relied on the senses. But there's a lot that the priests and the religions have said, and to some extent the political ideologies, to the extent that they resemble them, that are not based at all on the senses. I mean, you can't say that based on the senses there's a Holy Trinity, because you've never seen a Holy Trinity. So there's a lot of mystical stuff going on there.
That's not mystical. Some priest invented that. I mean, he sat down and worked it up.
It's not necessarily an invention. It could be just a good faith interpretation of reality.
The priests were the creative thinkers of their time. That's what they invented. I mean, the Egyptian people, who I consider to be the spiritual and religious mother of the Western world, the Egyptian people couldn't believe that they would live a life, die, and there'd be nothing after that. They couldn't take that. That was just something they couldn't. What did the priests do? Invented immortality. Well, okay, you don't want to die and be in oblivion.
But you can't deal with
it. We give you immortality.
That's right. But so do you. So do you. And that's what you're saying. That
No. Yes. No, I'm not fulfilling some
You're
need.
talking about an immediate eternity. In other words, tapping into living forever, forever beingness at the moment. So you too are searching for that foreverness.
No, there's no identity.
And you too, like the religions, are searching for the absolute. Because that's where you got it. That's where you got it.
The difference between me and them is that I don't recognize any identity. There's no identity in Copernicus. There's no Copernicus. There's no identity that's going to live on. In Copernicus, there's no identity at all. I am not here in my world.
Yeah, but forgetting about identity for a second, there is the concept of absolute truth, which is a purely religious concept in its beginning.
Well, religion is the definition of religion is the relationship of man with God. So religion, it is religious. Absolute truth is a religious concept, definitely. You want that. You want to know the truth that never changes.